My teeth?
Welcome
you're
back
okay.
I
to
haven't any spinach.
GMA's Live in the Hall. I am Amy Henderson, and we are in the center of the exhibit hall here at Georgia Municipal Association's 80th Annual Convention. I am joined by Lou Comer, our Director of Local Government Management Services. By the end of tomorrow, I'll have gotten that all figured out. And also Matt Santini, who is the mayor of Cartersville, Georgia. And we want to talk to you about what y'all do to reach out to legislators. I understand you make this kind of a year-round effort. We've been really pushing our city officials to contact their legislators and build those relationships. And so you guys are kind of a model on how to do this well.
We really do, and that's one of the areas that I think we really excel in is, and a lot of that credit goes to the folks that we have representing us. Not just at our state level, but also our federal legislators have made themselves available to us. Our state rep and our two senators always have staff members that are available to us. But really, the state, our state delegation is really active locally.
Oh, that's good.
A lot of times, throughout the course of the year, we'll have conversations just to let them know what's going on back home. And a lot of times, we've gotten to the point where some of them will be calling us while they're in session if they feel like it's something that affects us back home.
If something comes up that they haven't heard from you on, they'll reach out to you.
We haven't trained to the point where they'll agree with us every time, but we've got them to where they'll listen to us and actually call on us.
We've got to get them a magic wand.
Exactly,
That's right.
exactly. One thing Amy didn't mention about my job at GMA, I get the pleasure of working with the cities in Northwest Georgia. And during the legislative session, the legislative department will reach out to me to ask me to call our cities to get them to engage their legislators on a variety of different topics. And anytime I call on y'all, there's always someone there I can talk to, and y'all are really always good, I think, at circulating the word amongst all of your elected officials. And it's not just the mayor calling, it's everyone. Can you tell me a little bit how y'all managed to all be so good at that?
Well, and again, I think we've got a really active council and staff that try to stay on top of these issues to try to get them on the front end. And when you're informed and then you have that open communication with those legislators, it makes it that much easier, especially late in the sessions when things are happening very quickly. A lot of times I'll get a GMA legislative alert and I'm sending text messages out to our entire local delegation because they said it's the best way to get in touch with them. The other thing that we did that I think is really helpful is the hometown connection. We had one last year. We'll probably do one again this year. It doesn't ever hurt to over-communicate with your local delegation. And the other thing that I'm really proud of the fact that we did is we really cast a wide net when we did our hometown connection. We included our county government, and we're also the largest municipality. And we've got 6, 7 other municipalities in Bartow County. We invited them and included them in the presentation. And so we had real good participation, and it helps them get their messages out to these elected officials when they're in the same room with us.
Yeah.
And Matt, what are you telling them when you have your hometown connection? What information are you sharing with your state legislators? And did you include, just out of curiosity, did you include the federal offices?
Absolutely.
So they were there as well?
Absolutely. They all sent delegations or representatives there. What we try to tell them, we tell the Cartersville story. We sell water, electric, gas, among other things. And so, for them to understand what's going on, how we operate as a city.
Right.
We do things a little bit differently than other cities do, as every city will attest to. But the other thing is we really want to hammer home the fact that while you're considering legislation, there are things that are the decisions that you're making down there that may have an unintended consequence back here. Everybody talks about less government, smaller government, and while that's fine on a state or a federal level, when you talk about less government on a local level, you're really
how
talking
much
about
less can you get?
right. Well, and you're talking about reduction in services in a
Right.
lot of cases to people that live in cities because they want that heightened level of services.
Right.
So we really try to show them that if you put a mandate in that we've got to spend our time, living up to some regulation, it's really taking away from the time that we have to serve the community with the services they've been getting in
Right.
other ways.
Well, and also with all the cutbacks in federal and state government, so much of those responsibilities then get pushed down onto the local government. And I'm sure that you were able to, share, we're doing these things extra now because you're not able to do these things anymore.
And we make that point as well. But like I said, we're really trying to tell that Cartersville story, and as I said, I think it's even more impactful because we are including our county governments and the other municipalities, and for other cities that are wanting to put together a hometown connection, I would really encourage you just to cast that net as wide as you can, because the more local elected officials you have in that hometown connection, the more they're going to want to listen.
What time of year did you do your connection?
We
your
did
hometown
ours
connection?
in the early fall, I think.
Okay. Because I think that sometimes cities, they want to do these hometown connections, and last year I believe we had over 80 hometown connections, which was really, really good, and I think it makes a difference at the Capitol when our legislators I have that relationship with their local folks, as you said, where they will call you.
Well, but that relationship, you can't wait till January to have that relationship. It's really something that you have to have going on year-round.
Right.
Because those 40 days, I probably talk to the legislators less during those 40 days, that period of time when they're in session, than when they're out of session.
Yeah. And every time you talk to them, you're complaining and.
Try not to. A lot of times, the conversation is, this is what I want you to consider.
Right.
And I'll pass on some of the GMA bullet points. I might interject some of my own, how this affects us back home, and then just allow them to make that decision. I can't ask them, I joked about it earlier, but I can't ask our representatives to vote exactly the way I want them to every time. Right. But I can ask them, or at least expect them, to let me get my point across.
And to at least have that information.
Absolutely.
Because they're going to be getting information from a variety of sources. The city of Cartersville is not the only one talking to them. They're getting it from they're getting information from a variety of sources on the same issue. So it's important, I think, what y'all are doing to get your message to them.
Well, thanks. We look forward to keeping that a priority, and hopefully get to that magic part where we can actually tell them how to vote, and they'll do it.
He's like, let me just come down there and push that button for you. I got this. Let's talk real quick about the federal component, because that's an area where, we really do focus a lot, I think, on the state stuff, because that has so much direct impact on cities. Here in Georgia particularly, we don't have as much, I think, federal give and take. How do y'all maintain those relationships, especially they're farther away throughout the year?
And again, I think some of it, quite honestly, has to be a testament to the two senators and our congressmen who, make it a priority to have a presence in the district. That when you make a phone call and say we've got an event going on, they will send somebody there to be a part of it. And I think that would hold true for a lot of District 1, where I know that a lot of times when we go to District 1 GMA meetings, there are representatives from the federal level that are there as well.
Yeah, I will say and I can only speak for District 1, but the federal representatives, I always include them when we're having a district meeting. I send them out notices, and they love coming. Mm-hmm. That's a captive audience of constituents for them. Right. So they really see it as a big benefit. And they always want to make sure they're recognized, and they always stand up. If there's anything we can do for you, let us know. So,
well, and I know our local government staff, Tom Gale and his staff, they really appreciate all the hometown connections and the outreach you do throughout the year. It makes their jobs so much better. Tom says all the time, when cities like Cartersville have these events or have those relationships, if the legislators know that GMA knows what you guys are doing and stuff, when those legislators see Tom at the Capitol, they're not just seeing Tom, they're seeing you and your council, because they know that communication is going on in that great big circle.
Absolutely, and that was the one piece that I did leave out, was at that hometown connection, obviously include GMA as much as possible, because we had a real good showing from the GMA staff up there. Mm-hmm. And again, it just adds to the familiarity with GMA and as it relates to our delegation.
And in all fairness, too, the legislators, in general, Tom can't vote in all of those people's elections. The people of Cartersville can vote in those particular folks' election. So what you have to tell them carries a lot of weight with your local delegation, and it's awesome that you have that really good relationship and that they're interested in what y'all are doing.
And it is worth noting, like I said, again, it is a two-way street, and we do have a very responsive local delegation that cares about listening to us, and I think those are relationships that have just been built over a number of years.
Right. Yeah, it's no magic wand. It does take time. Any good relationship, I think, you have to build it up.
And even if you don't like them, just act like you like them, at least to start with.
And then maybe you grow to like them.
That's right.
And I have to say this, I know some of Matt's council members too, and you know, contacting the legislator sometimes is good. Sometimes it takes contacting the spouse of the legislator to get them engaged in the conversation.
To really get something moving there.
I find it interesting some of the tacks they will take if they don't get a call back.
That's been done before. That's all I'm going to say about that.
But it always kind of amazes me who knows who in Georgia too. You know, you could have, and I can think of several examples around the state where you have representatives of very small cities that have the ear of very powerful people, and so I never discount the size of a city as, oh well, you know, how much pull can they have? No, they can have a great deal of influence at the state capitol and in Washington D.C. It is about relationships. It's not about the number of people standing behind you all the time.
Right, true. Very
well,
true.
we appreciate all that you guys do in Cartersville for GMA and for our legislative policy platform, and really helping all cities. You know, we speak with one voice, and we appreciate that very much.
Well, thanks for having me. I had a blast.
Okay, thanks.